Hi, my name is Darius, and I was at RG cohort number 3. Currently, before I was working as a data scientist at Gojek, and now I'm working in a logistic company trying to digitalize the platform and the system there. Yeah, so I think it has been quite an interesting life that I went through, because what happened is that in 2021, I think early March, at March 29, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. This is very crazy for me, not just for me, but also for my family. Why? Because before that, I lived quite a healthy life. I exercise. Well, I don't eat the most healthiest food, but but I take care of my food. I don't eat late or anything like that. I sleep well. So it was a surprise when I learned that I have lung cancer. Right? It started in December 2020 when I started coughing. The cough was painful, but we thought that it was just COVID. So eventually my dad was fed up with my cough, and he told me, why don't you just go to the doctor, to the hospital, and do a whole body checkup? And that's when we discovered that I have cancer. Like I said, it was shocking because no one knows how to process this. Why? Because I was 29 years old. I just celebrated my birthday in February, so we were confused. Wait, are you even sure? Is this real? But after 2 weeks, that's when I learned that wow, I'm actually closer to death. I never think that I'll be so close to death than ever before. So there's a moment where you know what, maybe this is not going to last that long. So there's still hopeful. There's still feelings of maybe I can get over this. But after 5 months, turns out the result wasn't successful. So what happened is that I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. So luckily the spread is only within my lungs. After 5 months, the treatment was a chemotherapy. What happened is that my left lung has shrinks, but the right one didn't. So we were confused, okay, so what happened? But we know that whatever treatment that I received in Indonesia is not working. That's when I flew to America, right? And then in America, I went to the first hospital, and there they gave me a different treatment. We were hopeful with that treatment because now we're in America, they have better technology. But for some reason, the second treatment was also a failure, and instead all my cancer tumor has grown double in size. So we were confused, and at that point in time, I was at the lowest point in my life. This is my second treatment, and it was failure. I started to doubt myself, I started to doubt the future. I was confused, and then I don't really understand what's going on. Maybe I might not even be able to go back to my normal life anymore. People talk to me to stay positive, but I said, how can I be positive with this? Because 2 treatment is not working. What's next? So we went to the third hospitals, and the third hospital was very good. This is around in November, right? We talked to the doctor. The doctor did a whole body checkup again to come up with a diagnosis. But turns out that whatever diagnostic result that they received from that, it wasn't very conclusive. What do I mean by conclusive? It's not conclusive in a way that we couldn't determine what type of treatment that can fight my cancer. That's another another negative point for me. And I started questioning God, God, what are you trying to do with me? This seems to be hopeless. I was so down, but I was very happy because at that time there's a lot of people who were supportive. They talked to me, they said, hey, can I pray for you? So even at my lowest, I realized that I'm not alone, and I'm very happy with that. A good friend of mine, Tommy, actually said hey, I really want to share your pain to everyone because I want a lot of people to support you more in prayers. And I think that was very kind of him. After that, I think through God's grace, the third treatment was working. So the tumor slowly reduced, and then I think I started to get healthier. COVID situation also gets better, so I decided to flew back to Jakarta and then continue my treatment in Jakarta and Singapore. So talking for the whole year, So now what happened now, turns out my third treatment, it was working, but now it's not working anymore. Luckily, we caught it early. That's why you don't see me sick. Like compared to like previously, I was so sick, I was vomiting, I was in pain, headache, nausea, I couldn't eat anything, I was so skinny, I lost like 12 kilos. So now I am better, even though the treatment is not working, but at least I am stronger, I have more energy. So I can go through this better and make better decisions. So yeah, so that's my cancer story in a nutshell. So I think I'm going to track back a little bit, and maybe I'm just going to break it down. So when I learned that I had cancer, and after it sinked in, I fell down, like figuratively. I mean, I fell down more like, oh wow, this is happening to me. So I started to question the future. Am I going to have the future that I want? During that time, I felt hopeless. Right? I thought that there is no future. So I prayed to God and I said, God, what do you really want me to do here? Like, I've been praying, I've been worshiping you, I believe in you. I thought that maybe something like this will never happen to me, but why it happens to me? So I started questioning God a lot during that time. But God didn't really answer me a lot. But slowly, as I read the Bible and pray, it strengthened me. So I guess there's like a period of where I got, maybe it was a shock, but slowly I get to say, okay, now I start to accept that. Okay, which is not very reassuring, but I just believe that I can still go through this. Maybe there is hope, But after the second treatment, this is where the whole story changes, right? So, I mean, I was scared and I was unhappy with the first treatment, but I thought that, oh, there's still hope. I can go to America, I'm going to get better treatment. But after the second treatment in America, things change. So after learning that it didn't work, I started questioning God. So I've been praying every single day with the hope that God will listen to me. I asked myself, am I actually asking something big, or am I asking something that is impossible? No, I'm asking for healing, and God has been, in the Bible, God has been doing that. So this is the point when I start thinking and learning that one, I know God is capable, but yet for some reason I am not healed yet. So maybe God is not willing. So this is my first thought, and I complained to God, God, maybe I've done something bad. Maybe I didn't pray enough. Maybe I didn't read the Bible enough. Maybe I didn't do what you asked me to do enough. So I started crying and I started questioning, maybe I'm not worthy to be saved. So this is the period when I start to learn that no, Jesus, God, God is not like that. Because as I learned more about God, God said, you need to ask. Ask me anything, and if it is according to my will, I will listen. So I asked myself, is what I ask is something that is according to God's will? Yes, I want to be healed, and I want to go back, and I want to, I want to glorify God more. As I learn about life, I learned that I have this different perspective of life. I want to utilize it as much as possible to worship God. Then why am I not healed yet? And God said that to me through all the readings and prayers that I received from the Bible. God said that if you have asked, you shouldn't be doubtful. I think this is in James that talks about once you ask, you shouldn't doubt what you have asked, because that means I will have a double mindset. So that's the hardest part for me, to really just believe in God's love. Because first I thought that God is not willing, but now I said, no, God is willing, but how can I be sure that God is always willing? God is always willing, but can I trust that love? And that has been the struggle for me. But I think I really want to draw this example. So even through this pain, I learned a lot from Jesus, right? So just I think the story in Matthew, Mark, look in the Gospels, there's part where before Jesus was crucified, he prayed to God. And Jesus said, I am sorrowful to a point of death. But yet, he said that he asked God to take the cup away from him, which is like to take all his pain, all this misery. So at that point, I realized that like Jesus also understands how I feel. So for me, I'm not alone here. But there's like this last bit that I think I remember. Jesus said, "But it is not my will, but yours." So now I realize that, hey, Jesus understands how I feel. So Jesus knows what I'm going through, which means that like I can follow his example. And this is his example, that to keep trusting him, surrender to him, regardless of what is the outcome. And because I know that God is loving and God will always give the best for his children, I need to keep believing in that. It's a lot easier now because, like I said, like what I've learned, God said that like you shouldn't be doubtful, and I'm not doubting God anymore. I'm not questioning God anymore. I have asked, I prayed earnestly with all my might. I asked a lot of people to pray for me, right? And there's like a lot of friends who's been supportive, and I know that God listened to all of us. Then why am I questioning him anymore? So with this 4th treatment, I know that he has a plan. I'm not going to question his plan. Whatever happened will happen. And I'm just going to follow through with that. So this is a really interesting point for me because when I was diagnosed with cancer, it was also during COVID time, right? I mean, on the side, like it's also painful to have lung cancer and then coughing and people like, like staring at me and then, judge me because I cough. But the biggest part that like really stood out to me is that there's a lot of people dying. Because when I was diagnosed, it was during Delta. There's a lot of people dying, and it was scary. But at the time, I was thinking, but I'm not dead. Like I'm still alive while these people died. So I said, like I have a chance. I have this second chance in life. So what am I going to do with my life? So at first I was hopeless. I thought like I just want to go back to normal. I just hope everything will be okay. But now I start to question my previous perspective of life. Yeah, I've been trying to achieve, I want to be successful in my career, which I think a lot of people are. I want, like a lot of things that people like in society accept. But now I ask myself, what do I really want here? How am I going to give back to God? First thing first, what I really want to do is I want to live. And like, I am living, but like the thing is, it's different when I start asking like, what I really want to do. Like, I don't want to wait anymore because like last time I kept thinking, oh, I want to do this, but let me wait there. I still have work to do. I postpone things that I really want to do. But now, no, I want to live. I want to have a long-term plan. I will do it regardless of whatever result that I will face. People say that, yeah, but like, aren't you scared that you have cancer and that you might not even achieve that long-term plan? It's okay because at least I'm pursuing what I want, right? And then a lot of things that I want is also to give back to God. God has been very nice to me. With all of this, like one example is like the fact that I'm not dying during this COVID time. The second part is there's a lot of like supportive group, knowing that like I'm not fighting this alone. Like having cancer, like I can, it's also like, being isolated from the world. Suddenly I'm different. I'm not normal anymore. Maybe people will be kind to me, but at the same time, I will look down on myself. Like, why am I sick? I'm not, not the same anymore like before. But because people are supporting me, I feel the love, right? There is a lot of course, there's like a lot of like little things, like sometimes people become very protective, overprotective. But at the same time, I also learned that like this all is because they love me. And love is such a powerful thing. And knowing that like as I pray, God is listening to me is also very powerful, right? So I think in RG, I learned something that I think that sticks to me a lot, which is someone told me like a person in RG went through something horrible, not cancer, definitely, but like something horrible. But like she said something that I don't want to waste my pain. I want to use my pain to glorify God more. I think that becomes more real to me, and I think I want to do that more too. So I want to live, but at the same time, I also want to glorify God through my pain that I'm going through now. And whatever result that I will get in the end, I don't really care about the result anymore. I care about that I am making that decision to go to that goal, and I'm very content with that life.